Hi guys, this is Vidas. Welcome to today's tutorial series Learn with Vidas. And I'm delighted to be able to teach you how to improvise a postlude based on the special HERZLIEBSTER JESU hymn tune. It will be dedicated to this ostinato technique, which actually was very useful last time I created this meditation for you last Sunday tutorial, and hopefully you could have practiced and even played it maybe today in your church service, sort of gentle and soft meditation. But today this will be even more powerful training, because we will take the same kind of techniques but make it into an energetic postlude, which you could use it after church service or even during a recital, like a ending piece or an anchor. Yeah. Today I'm choosing HERZLIEBSTER JESU HERZLIEBSTER JESU basically tune. Holy Jesus. So it will be sung in the Holy Week, but obviously the same technique, ostinato technique, will be applicable in many other hymn forms as well. Ostinato, right? Let's now discuss or remind you what is an ostinato. Ostinato is like a fragment of melodic, harmonic material or rhythmic material put together, and it repeats itself many times. A number of times throughout the piece, like throughout the entire piece or throughout the section of the composition. In our case, it might repeat entire composition because it's not very long, 2 to 3 minutes long, right? Usually the postludes could be. Basically, would be very, very interesting to explore this technique. Are you ready? If you are, let's now definitely stay tuned for my registration, and let's now open Pfarrkirche St. Maria Magdalena in Goch sample set, Seifert organ 2015, and it will be obviously on Sweelinq's platform. And let me maybe briefly play a tune for you, Holy Jesus, HERZLIEBSTER JESU first, based on this registration. Rather powerful registration, but not too powerful. And then we'll talk about the ostinato technique. Here we go. All right, what do you think? It's a very beautiful hymn tune created by Johann Kruger. He lived in the 17th century, basically. And the text is speaking about, of course, suffering of Jesus. Holy Jesus, how hast thou offended that man? To judge thee hath in hate pretended. By foes derided, by thine own rejected, almost afflicted. Right? So it's clearly a Passion, Holy Week type of hymn tune, and I wanted to start learning these hymns for you for Lent, for Holy Week in advance, so that you could really spend time with them, even though it's not yet Lent, but it will be soon, so you can practically use them in your liturgical playing very, very soon. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about what type of ostinato technique we'll be using. Okay, ostinato basically is that figure which is repeated, right? Melodic fragment, rhythmic fragment, and harmonic fragment, both all of them put together, and they could be a measure long, 2 measures long, 4 measures long, or 3 or 7, yeah, and they could be repeated. What is interesting that those fragments could actually be put together on top of each other, like pedals could play one ostinato figure, and the left hand could play another ostinato figure, and they could not necessarily coincide or not, could be simultaneously synchronicity, right? Or without asynchronous, right? Asynchronicity. It depends what kind of tune we have. The tune today is in G minor mode, and what is nice about it, it doesn't have F sharp, it doesn't have raised 7th scale degree at all, and therefore it sounds like Aeolian mode, like a natural minor. Although in harmonization, if we use just chords in 4-part harmony, we definitely use 7th scale degree with the sharp, F sharp raised, and that would be the major dominant, yeah. But in our case, if we want to create something with ostinato and suitable throughout the entire hymn, prelude, then this is nice that there is no F sharp, and we could create more natural, more modal ways of playing, more colorful and modal harmonies. Okay, who is in the live chat right now? Hello, Dawn. Hello. Hopefully you will get a lot of this tutorial, and you can practice on your own throughout the upcoming week. And I remember Dawn was here in the last tutorial when I taught people how to create meditations based on ostinato technique, meditations, preludes, right? The softer material. And hopefully this was useful to Dawn and others as well. All right, so step 1 today, okay? Step 1, if we're going to use this tune, and remember, you can use whatever tune you want, but for today's tutorial, let's do this together. HERZLIEBSTER JESU, right? It's 123 hymn if you are in the Lutheran hymn book it's called Lutheran Book of Worship, I think, yeah, LBW, which I have right here, and it's number 123. In other hymnals, obviously there will be different numbers and maybe even different text, but the tune itself, it's HERZLIEBSTER JESU. You can look it up even online. All right. So the elements that will comprise this composition or improvisation, whatever you choose, you can actually write it down as a written down piece like a composition, or you can improvise. Because I'm teaching you to do it on the spot, it will be improvisation. But remember, improvisation and composition is two sides of the same coin, because what is improvisation? It's a composition of at the moment of performance. You're thinking what to create, and once you have thought about it and had an idea, and at the same time while doing so you're performing and actually looking ahead all the time, because while you're playing measure 1, you're thinking about measure 2, 3, 5, 7 and so forth, thinking ahead. So this is more advanced than writing down, but you can actually learn it slowly and in steps, which I will be teaching it next. All right, and like last time, it's important to realize all the 7 elements that will be important to our composition or improvisation. So the first element is melody. Melody obviously is a well-known tune, which I just played for you, and then the second is the rhythm. And since this is no longer a meditation or a prelude, it has to be energetic. It has to be a postlude-like material. So in postludes, usually we have energetic rhythmic material. And one of those things is like create more drive, rhythmic drive. And to do that, we have to choose meter. Let's do that 4/4 meter. And actually the hymn is in that meter, so it's very convenient. Okay, who is else in the chat? Niels, hello, good evening. Welcome. And continuing about that, about rhythm, is that we could choose repeated rhythmic patterns, like in ostinato. I will talk about in turn, right? Number 3, harmony. The harmony and mode are related, and I was mentioning already natural minor mode with two flats like this. It's also called melodic minor, natural minor, sorry, Aeolian mode, right? And this will work very well. We will have to talk about what kind of chords to use, but that will we will cover about those elements after we discuss all 7. Number 4 would be what? Dynamic level. Dynamic level would be all forte or fortissimo, depending on what kind of size of the organ you have. If it's a big organ, large organ. Basically, you could use most of the stops, like tutti registration, or organo pleno registration if you don't want to use reeds. That would be still fine. But definitely 1 or 2 reeds in the pedals is very nice to have to reinforce this ostinato figure, which we will play in the pedals in a moment. Okay, what else after number 4? Number 5 is registration. And I showed you registration, which not necessarily is all of the stops. It's pretty loud already. I could use this registration, like tutti registration, like this. Maybe after some talking, when I perform, I could increase it. Yeah, all of the stops combined except voix celeste, except the undulating stops, basically. That would be the tutti registration in our sample set of Goch, yeah, Maria Magdalena Church, from Sweelinq platform. But remember your own situation, what kind of organs are at your disposal. Yeah, you can always adjust, right, what you have. And then number 6, texture. Number 7 is form. Number 6, texture. Texture will be 3 layers. 1 layer will be in the right hand part, that will be our tune, right? Layer in the middle will be left hand, also ostinato figure, and the pedals will have layer 3, another ostinato figure. So 2 ostinato figures combined for for you, I will make one ostinato figure longer, another ostinato figure shorter, so it will be easier for you to concentrate on the pedals. Pedals will be longer, and left hand will be shorter, and then the tune will be played in the right hand part. And the form, the number 7, will be very simple ritornello form. Ritornello form, which actually will have ostinato fragments in between of phrases. And if we look at how many phrases do we have in this Holy Jesus or HERZLIEBSTER JESU, let me play it for you. Like here, 1. Okay, 2. All right, 3. And 4. All right, so that's basically the main idea. If we are to play, if we have to play the ritornello between or ostinato figures before and after each phrase, there are 4 phrases, right? Basically, we need what? We need 5 phrases because probably we will have ostinato technique before the first phrase and after the last phrase as well. While holding the last chord or without it, it doesn't matter. We'll see how it goes in our case, okay? So 4 or 5 phrases basically of ostinato, the same number or one additional number of ostinato phrases, all right, that are in the hymn. Right? The hymn consists of 4 lines, so we'll have maybe one more ostinato figure appearing. All right, so we talked about all 7 elements in general, right? Let's now start building up our ostinato technique. So, and let's start in the pedals. What kind of pedal work we could have? Like this. I could actually have even one part. So what I'm doing right now is I'm experimenting with different harmonies and ways of playing with the pedals, and now I have some ideas in my head for ostinato figure. So if we have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be our quaternaus, 3, 4. And the pedals, let me, I think we could do it a simple way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me show you the pedals. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so basically we have a fragment which is repeating every 2 measures. If I show you the keyboard view, that's 2 measures, right? And that could work actually, probably very well. Probably for this, let's do it again, and you will see now my hands as well. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm starting experimenting with the right hand as well and left hand. Okay, I think it could be very nice ostinato like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, like this. But of course, if it's difficult for you, what I'm doing, I'm playing 2/5, G, and I'm playing D, G, D, G, C, F, E flat, E flat, E flat, and then D, A, D flat. This. And you can do the same but slower. Twice as slow if you need to practice, right? Like this. It's slow enough. If we need energetic character of the piece, I suggest doing more non-legato, articulate legato touch. And I actually didn't play legato in the pedals at all. And I used alternate toe technique, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left. And then it actually is very easy because this open fifth, right? G to D, F to C, E flat to B flat, and D to A. It's very easy to remember. Its basis is a tetrachord, descending tetrachord going downward. G, F, E flat, and D. Phrygian tetrachord, by the way. Its structure is minor second, major second, and major second. If we go downward, so it's major second, minor second. Like this, or this. Only you have to play with your feet, okay? So, and we actually have 4 opportunities to change harmonies, right? On one, I'm creating right now left hand ostinato as well. It's not so difficult. My feet go downward, right? Descending tetrachord. but in order to play a well-balanced texture, one of my hands has to go upward in opposite direction. So opening chord would be this. It's like G minor chord. G minor chord, F major chord, E flat major chord, D, what is this? It's like a 7th scale degree for 3 chord, but it works with the 5th scale degree. Like this. You don't have to play in E flat. D natural, it's just fine. So G minor chord, F major chord, E flat major, and B minor chord. But in order to spice things up, I use a dissonant interval of the major or minor second somewhere. Here is G minor chord, and if I use C in the middle of this E flat and D major third, I have this. I could play this too, but it's a little different color. Right? If we put together this chord in a wider position and C goes 1 octave higher, that would be our main chord, built from 4 notes, but it's actually 6-note chord actually. It's 11th chord. But of course, with F and A omitted. Yeah. If we use this A instead of C, so in reality, we have this chord, which is a 9th chord. 9th, and this is 11th. A little different color, but still it's all based on G minor. Okay, C in the middle probably. F major, yeah. It could be this, 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 and this, based on 3-note chords. This is with C in the middle. This is with D in the middle. Again, dissonant major second. Dissonant minor second in the middle. And dissonant major second on the bottom. And here we have very beautiful ostinato in the hands. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? I'm teaching you each texture element separately because it's like in your brain you have to do the easy tasks for the first, right? And then put all those together because there are 3 layers, remember, right hand, left hand, and the pedals, the tune and 2 ostinato layers, right? We have to treat this improvisation like a written down composition, like a repertoire, organ repertoire. And if you have organ repertoire piece written in a trio texture, like right hand, left hand, and the pedals, like a trio sonata, right? What do? How do you learn it? You learn, of course, separate parts first, right hand, left hand, and the pedals alone, separately. all right? So that's what I'm doing actually. We learn the pedals, right? Like this. Right? And then we learn the middle part. Okay, left hand basically. And since we will be using those figures if for a long time, you don't have to play from the beginning until the end for 3 minutes, right? Pedals alone, left hand alone. No, it repeats itself, and you will learn very quickly this way. You just repeat a few times, a few repetitions, and then once you get it, you can move on, and that's what I'm doing. Okay, and then of course the right hand part. The right hand part will be, of course, the tune, and the tune will be, of course, in our case, not in a single voice, not in a single melodic voice, but also with chords, So it will be a little more difficult to play, but still much easier than to coming up with long advanced melodies and harmonies and polyphonic material. No, it will be ostinato material repeating itself over and over again, and on top of that will be very nice hymn tune played in 3 or 4 part harmony. And then once we put everything together, it will be very energetic postlude. Okay, so step 1 pedal, step 2 left hand, step 3 the right hand part. Step 4 next, yeah, once we learn the right hand part, will be 2 parts together if it's a real trio, right, like a trio sonata, 2 hands together. Step 5 right hand and pedals. Step 6 left hand and pedals. And step 7 entire 3-part texture. That's how you use, that's how you learn trio sonata by Johann Sebastian Bach, or trio chorale by Johann Ludwig Krebs, or any other type of shorter piece, even built in the romantic texture, chromatic materials from the 19th century, German romantic like Merkel, or remember Josef Reinberger wrote beautiful trios. They still are beautiful material from 3 melodic lines, and unless you're good with all 3 lines put together, I recommend learning all of them separately first, and then 2-part combinations, which are 3, and then finally 7th step would be entire 3-part texture, trio texture. So in our case, the same material and step process applies, because we are actually creating a written out composition. Maybe if it's successful, if you like it, I can actually write it down later, and maybe we can try. Maybe you can actually play how I played it, exactly the way I played it. Maybe, all right. If it's successful at the end of the tutorial, we'll see. All right. So we did step 1, which is pedals. We did step 2, which is left hand. Now, interesting step is to see the hymn tune HERZLIEBSTER JESU and add chords to it. And in order to add chords, we have to decide what kind of harmony we will use, 3-part harmony or 4-part harmony. It's all up to you. And by the way, if you have only one manual with pedals, it will work very nicely because the hymn tune could be put 1 octave higher, like this. Do you like it? I think it's nice. Did you notice what kind of chords I used? I used only exclusively major, minor, and diminished first inversion chords. Why diminished? Because sometimes when you build major or minor triads entirely from the melodic material of your mode, of G minor mode, natural mode, then some chords are major, some chords are minor, and one chord is actually diminished. If you look closely to the second keyboard, I will play G minor scale, okay, and build those major or minor chords based on only two flats, B flat and E flat. What is this? It's already diminished chord. Major, minor, major, minor, right? So from the first scale degree we have minor chord. From the second scale degree we have diminished chord because there are two minor thirds on top of each other. From the third scale degree we have major because we have major first and then minor third later. For the fourth scale degree minor chord because it's opposite, minor third plus major chord, major third. Fifth scale degree minor, sixth scale degree major, seventh scale degree major, and this is the repetition of the same G, right? Eighth scale degree doesn't count. So if we recap what kind of chords do we use in minor mode, natural minor, we have from the first scale degree, fourth scale degree and fifth scale degree minor chords, and from the third scale degree, sixth scale degree and seventh scale degree we have major chords, and from the second scale degree we have diminished chords, right? Someday if I'm teaching you a hymn improvisation based on a major mode, like B major, B flat major, we can talk about what kind of chords we have in the major mode. But basically, well, why don't I tell you right now, and you can thank me later, right? If you choose to work on a hymn in a major mode, all right? Let's look at the keyboard and pretend that it's not G minor but G major mode. We need F sharp then. So based on the same system of major or minor or diminished chords that we use, only played on the material from the natural major G major key. On the first scale degree we have major chord, on the second scale degree minor, on the third minor, on the fourth major, on the fifth major, on the sixth minor, on the seventh diminished, right? So it's the opposite. If in the minor mode chords from the main scale degrees 1, 4, 5 were minor, like G minor, C minor, and A minor. And all the other 3 degrees, 3, 6, 7, were major, B flat major, E flat major, and F major. Then, if we are in the major mode, right? Major mode. So then the main degree is 1, 4, 5, tonic, subdominant, or dominant, if you want. They are major. 1, G major, 4, C major, 5, D major, and then what? 2, A minor, 3, B minor, and 6, E minor. And one last chord from the 7th scale degree is diminished, F sharp, diminished root position chord. So the reason I'm actually telling you this is because remember a moment ago when I harmonized the tune of HERZLIEBSTER JESU in my right hand, I used exclusively first inversion chords, and some of them were minor, some of them were major, and one of them was diminished chord. So let me back up a little bit and play with this knowledge in mind for you one more time. 1 octave high, right? Minor, major, minor, minor, diminished, major, minor, diminished. Maybe I play here. Here is diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. Next line. Major, diminished, minor, major, minor, major, minor, major, major, minor, 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 major, diminished, and minor. By the way, if you want the challenge, it's a very nice thing to do with any hymn tune that you play. You could harmonize it in 3-note first inversion chords, not root position chord, because root position chords would be different actually. Let me show you how it sounds, and it doesn't sound that nice, like this. Why doesn't it sound nice? I mean, it does sound nice, right? When I'm playing at the concert tempo, but can it be improved? Obviously it can, because for the first moment you have to realize the last chord, it doesn't sound like G minor chord at all. If G is on the top and we build a root position chord on this, below G, right? It's actually C minor chord, and if the mode is in G and the right hand ends on C minor, we have ambiguity of the mode. We have polytonality already. It's a little bit too harsh sometimes, yeah, to end like this. Maybe it could work on your situation, but remember the registration is already quite harsh with all the reeds, right? I didn't even include the mixtures yet, right? If you want to spice things up, you could have mixtures. So then you might think that it's a little too harsh, position chords. What about second inversion chords, like this? if G is on the top, like this, let me play it. If we have, you know, second inversion chords, it's already same feeling that in root position chords, because the last chord is E flat major second inversion chord, not G. So the only way to create the same mode of thinking as in G minor is actually to play first inversion chord, and you would end on G minor first inversion chord if the last or the first note is from the first scale degree, which is G, right? Next time I'll show you. Yeah, I think for now let's use in the right hand part first inversion chords, and then we could spice things up with the left hand, of course, because we have major seconds or minor seconds inside of those chords, right? A little more dissonant sound. By the way, minor second is a half step. Did you know that? Or major second is a whole step. I could say just easily G minor chord. Let me show you. G minor chord, a whole step inside between two upper notes. Here is first inversion F major chord with the whole step between two chords. Between two middle voices, between two middle chords, middle notes, and then E flat major second inversion chord with the half step in the middle, and E minor chord with the whole step between two lower notes. You see? It could just be the same thing. So, are you ready? I think I played the third step for you, right hand alone. But remember, if we are choosing to do it on one keyboard, which is actually a good idea, maybe. The lowest note is D, I think, right? If we're looking at the keyboard. Now let's think about clashing of hands, right? That's why sometimes it's beneficial to use two keyboards, not to use overlapping hands, right? But if the lowest note in the right hand part will be F, right? Because the lowest note in the tune is what? D. So the first inversion chord downward from D is F minor first inversion chord. So F will be our lowest note in the right hand part. So let's see if we can actually pull it off on one keyboard, right? Left hand part, D on top, F, G, and A. So the top note is actually A, in the left hand part, and the lowest note is F in the right hand part. Not really, not really. It's nice, but I believe sometimes it might clash. It might clash. So therefore, this way or this way is actually better. Now, if we have to choose the registration, obviously the right hand should be somewhat high, somewhat louder. Not necessarily very loud, but somewhat louder. Which means about this is probably good enough sound. This. So I believe we could use two manuals, this way or this way. It depends where your Hauptwerk, where your great manual is. If the great manual is on the first manual, then the right hand part will play on the first manual, on the lower manual. If your great manual is in the middle or the second manual, then you do this. Right hand has to be a little louder than the left hand. Okay. Obviously, on the organ, top notes will be somewhat louder than the middle register, middle range notes. So it doesn't have to be much louder, the main manual registration. So think about your balance first of all, and don't do too harsh registration in the right hand part, like mixture. We don't probably need mixtures. That would be too much probably, and especially 2 to 1. Too much. But 3 to 1, maybe still fine. Now, okay, now actually it's doable. It's doable, but perhaps let's leave this 3 to 1 in our case. Okay. So somewhat you see how much power do you need in the left hand and the right hand to make it in balance. All right. Are you still with me? If you have any questions, Hello in the chat. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat as well. So now let's do step 4, both hands together. Okay, like this. I will show you the keyboard view. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll play a short introduction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my left hand will move in half notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the tune enters. Does it make sense? Neil says no questions, but got lost on harmonization part, but we'll rewatch it later. That's a good idea. If it's too much tutorial material for you right now, if I'm talking too fast, I'm not talking too fast for English speakers, obviously, but for non-native speakers, perhaps sometimes, especially if I'm moving too fast with the material, feel free to watch it even 2 times, twice, 3 times, 5 times if you need it, over and over again, and stop each step and rewatch it again if you want as well. Not entire video, but do it in fragments, right? Okay, let me play now both hands together. That would be step number 4. I just did an experiment how our harmony could be put together. The last chord, G minor first inversion chord, on the last note of the tune, this, and the left hand, this ostinato figure. Does it sound nice, right? And here is the result. It's nice because whatever you play together, if you're still doing it with 2 flats, it will work most of the time, right? We're still in G minor area, and that's why all kinds of harmonies can clash, but they are all in one color, G minor color, or natural minor color, or Aeolian mode color if you want. Okay, that was step number 4. Step number 4, it's actually not complete because remember I had to play ostinato figure between each phrase without the right hand part playing like this. Let me show you. Okay, does it make sense? Sometimes right hand will be silent, right, in the middle of the phrase, and left hand will keep playing the same ostinato figure upwards. And 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 chords will then repeat itself throughout the piece. And you have to practice a little more than times. Okay? And then number 5 will be our right hand and the pedals together, like this. Maybe I'll show you the pedal view and the side view as well, like this. So, the pedals. So that is actually the entire length of our postlude. It's not too long, but not too short, but it's energetic enough to be in one style, in one mode, in one ostinato figure, right? Put together. You don't need to use too many ostinato figures within this short prelude, postlude, right? Because it's just short. If you wanted to add the second verse, like in another key, let's say, to modulate or to transpose the tune in another key, like minor or major third upwards or downwards, to change the color even more, then you probably would need to do a different kind of ostinato to create a different drive. But that's beyond the scope of our tutorial today. And the third verse, for example, or half of the second verse could be in the first mode in G minor, basically, and you can actually come back to the first element of the ostinato or create the third ostinato. That would actually increase your interest even more. But that's for a longer piece or improvisation. If you need to play not 3 minutes, but let's say 5 minutes, right? Some churches prefer longer postludes, so think about how to expand it. And this is one way to do it. All right, so that was number 5. Steps number 6 would be left hand and the pedals. And is particularly easy because I don't need to play entire thing because it all repeats every 2 measures like this. Like this. Notice that I ended this postlude with the fifth, the 2 notes, double pedal, G and D in the pedals. Where's the pedal camera? Here. Like this. It's ostinato. It suits very much. If it's too powerful, because remember we do have the bombard here in 16, but in the Goch sample set it's not too powerful. But if in your organ it's too overpowering to play 2 notes at once in this short proximity with this registration that you chose for 2 manuals, then you don't have to play 2 feet together at once. But you could do this. Like this. The last note could be G, not G and D. It's up to you. Right, so are you ready to step number 7? And needless to say, don't go to the next step unless you can do the previous step fluently 3 times in a row without mistakes. Every single step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single voice, 2 voice combinations that I taught before, those steps have to be practiced fluently at least that many times that you could play 3 times without mistakes. And sometimes if you make a mistake in the middle of the step, then you start counting it again, and sometimes you do 1, 2, 3 would be mistake, again 1, 2 mistake. So you keep counting, and sometimes on a difficult step, sometimes it requires maybe 10 or 15 or even 20 repetitions. Don't worry, the most important thing is not to rush over the material, but be comfortable with the speed. Remember, you can always slow down twice as slow. I'm talking about concert tempo here. I'm teaching you at the concert tempo so that you would feel the energetic postlude character. But at home, when you're practicing alone or at the church at night, nobody's forcing you to play fast. Remember this. And do it as slowly as you can comfortable play. So, ready for the last step, number 7. And that will be all parts put together. Here we go. What do you think? Is it nice enough, or should we make it even more fluent, right? The tricky part is not the pedals and not the left hand and not even the right hand part. The right hand part, when you are used to it, it's okay, but the tricky part is actually the rests between the right hand part. When you finish phrase 1, like this, okay, then it's best not to pick your nose or do this or remove your hand from the keyboard, but actually prepare your next chord, this diminished chord. The good thing is actually that each line ends on the first, and the next line enters on the first line, or the first note, or the same note actually. So the first line ends A, right? The first line ends on A, the second line starts on A. The second line ends on B flat, and the third line starts on B flat. But between this last phrase and the next phrase is an octave jump. So everywhere you could actually hold the same position, except before the last phrase. You have to jump your hand exactly 1 octave higher. Before actually you need to do it, before you have to play this chord, this upper G, right? You have to be prepared, and don't place your hand right here in the rest, in the places where the left hand alone is playing without the right hand. Always stay in the position where you need to prepare. This is preparation, hand preparation, just like feet. You have to be prepared, all right? So maybe I'll do it one last time for you, and then leave you to practice. Here we go. So friends, hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. That was the last step, right? Number 7. All hands put together, all parts put together. And thank you so much for staying with me in this tutorial, watching me practice. And in general, thank you so much for your support. It means so much. Thank you for your donations, buy me a coffee donations, super chats during the live stream. Super thanks if you watch it later on YouTube. Memberships, you can also do that. Thank you for everyone. Nils, for example, is a member as well, right? So I'm very much appreciative because of this. Thank you. And of course, you can do membership. Some people are members on Buy Me a Coffee platform. This really helps also to cover our expenses as well. And Buy Me a Coffee donations always helps, like virtual coffee. Yeah. So it's amazing to have this beautiful little community around surrounding secrets of organ playing, and I hope you will enjoy your week. You're practicing alone, and stay tuned for the next videos or tutorials very soon. For example, next Friday will be obviously very special live stream on the bench with Vidas, and tomorrow, by the way, is a very special and significant day for Ukraine, right? Those of us who support Ukraine in any way you can, remember tomorrow, because tomorrow will be the 3rd anniversary of this terrible full-scale war in Ukraine, and tomorrow we have to pray for the victory of Ukraine, donate for the victory of Ukraine, and tomorrow I will have a special video for you based on Ukrainian theme, so stay tuned for that. So, and remember, when you practice, miracles happen.